Happy morning to you all, my dear sweet students. Now we are in the final section. That means section 3 in the lesson When the Trees Walked. Shall we start the lesson, my dear students? The monsoon season was the time for rambling out. What does it mean by rambling? Wandering. What is the monsoon season? That means the rainy season. It is the time for rain. At every turn, there was something new to see. Because it is a rainy season, it gives more water to the plants and seeds. So, all the place where we see will show new. Out of the earth and rock and leafless boughs, the magic touch of the rains had brought life and greenness. When the rain came out of the earth, even the rock, leafless boughs also begin to grow some leaves on the branches. Because of the magic touch of the rains, that rain brought life and greenness to the earth. You could see the broad leaves, vines growing. You know, my dear students, what is my vines? Grapes. Plants sprang. That means moving. It gives a gentle breeze up in the most unlikely of the places also. Even in the unlikely places also, in the rainy season, the plants sprang up. A people would take root in the ceiling. A mango would sprout. What is meant by sprout? When seeds begin to grow into small plants on the windowsill. We did not like to remove them, but they had to go if the house was to be kept from falling down. Yes, my dear student, because the people and mango are the biggest trees now. If you want to live in a tree, that's all right by me, said grandmother crossly. If you want to live in a tree, but I like having a roof over my head, and I'm not going to have my roof brought down by the jungle, because I love to live in a thatched roof only, not to live in a jungle. Then came the Second World War, and I was sent away to the boarding school. So the Second World War came. So I went to my school. During the holidays, I went to live with my father in Delhi. On the time of holidays, I went to Delhi. Meanwhile, my grandfather and my grandmother, that means my grandparents, sold the house and went to England. That house where we plant more trees now. They sold their house and went to England. 2 or 3 years later, I too went to England and was away from India for several years because I went to live with my grandparents. So we are away from India for several years. Some years later, again I returned to Dehradun. Where is it in India? After first visiting the old house, it hadn't changed much. I walked out of town towards the riverbed because there is no water on the river. On the river only I am walking to reach the town. It was February. As I looked across the dry watercourse, my eye was immediately caught by a spectacular. What is meant by spectacular, my dear students? Eye-catching. There is an eye-catching sight. Red blooms of the coral blossom. Already I and my grandfather planted coral plant in our coral saplings. In contrast with the river dry bed, the island was a small green paradise because before itself we planted more trees. When I went up to the trees, I noticed that some squirrels were living in them and a quail, a crow peasant family, a family of crow, challenged me with a mellow, "Who are you? Who are you?" like that, because they didn't know me. And me and my grandfather only planted all the trees. Now that island looks like a small paradise. But the trees seemed to know me. But the trees identified me. They whispered among themselves. They speaking in a low voice with myself and beckoned me nearer. What is meant by beckon? Just signal with your hand to ask the person to come closer or follow. That means the plants, the trees asked me to come near. And looking around, I noticed that other smaller trees, wild plants and grasses had sprung up under their protection. Many small plants and wild plants and grasses also had taken some shelter in the tree, under the tree. Yes, the trees we had planted long ago had multiplied. Now there are many trees there. They were walking again. here and there in one small corner of the world, grandfather's dream had come true. Yes, what is the dream of my grandfather? He wanted to plant more trees, wanted to make the island into a paradise. So now my grandfather's dream had come true. So, my dear students, don't never ever cut down a plant or tree. Plant more trees and plants. Okay, my dear students. Thank you all.